You have summoned me for advice, my descendant. I see many of my qualities manifested in you, and I fear you might make the same mistakes. Here is my story. Odysseus, the one whom I called my master, the one I was always loyal to, the one I loved, had just set sail for Troy, tearing my heart in two. His departure was not easy for me. I cried and prayed to Almighty Zeus that I might see my master again soon. For years I waited for his return, hoping that one day he would come home and treat me as his son. One day I overheard Eumaeus and Melanthius, the other herders, talking about Odysseus' love for them rather than me. Odysseus has always favored us over the ignorant Melanthius, they said. When he returns, we will take the land he has promised us, and Melanthius can take care of his goats, that dirty beggar. I stormed off, seething with anger and jealousy. Why had Odysseus promised them land and status, but not me? I am the most loyal of them all. I deserve to be treated as royalty. With Odysseus being gone for so long, suitors lined up to win his beautiful wife's hand in marriage. I started to take a liking to the suitors, especially Antinous. As our bond grew stronger, he continued to offer me gifts of increasing value until he offered me the greatest one of all, a small plot of land next to the palace, if Penelope chose him, of course. Years later, I encountered my enemy, Eumaeus, at a fountain. "Look," I said, "one scum nosing another scum along. Wretched pig boy, where do you take your filthy swine? Odysseus was a fool the day he chose you over me, but you are a fool, Eumaeus, for believing that he will come back. I have sided with the suitors." The next day I stood from a distance and saw the beggar foolishly accept the challenge that Penelope had presented to the suitors, but as he skillfully strung the bow and shot an arrow through the axes, a sudden realization dawned on me. Odysseus had returned. Odysseus drew his string again, pulling back and shooting my best friend of them all, Antinous, straight in the neck. A full-fledged battle broke out, and I ran in fear, but Eumaeus and Melanthius seized me and tied me to watch the rest of my comrades die. I sat, dejected, resentful, in the claws of my disgusting enemy, Odysseus. Now the suitors' blood began flooding the pristine floors of the house, and I couldn't stand to take it any longer. If one more brother in arms dropped, I would have nothing left. Then, the worst of my fears came true as a flock of arrows from Odysseus' camp struck through the hearts of my friends, and metaphorically, through my own. A few interminable hours passed, and finally I caught sight of Melanthius, Eumaeus, and Telemachus. With a glint of hope in my eyes as they approached, their stone-cold glares were enough to do me in. Telemachus finally opened up his ruthless mouth and stated, "Melanthius, your disloyal ways have finally done you in. Odysseus came back home with the intent of giving you your land as promised. Yes, he promised Eumaeus and Melanthius also, but all you had to do was trust your old master and remain patient." To this I replied, "But sir, I see now the consequences of my ways. I will never be anything but loyal and patient for all my years to come. No longer will others' hearsay affect me. I swear." He solemnly replied, "End him." So remember, never let jealousy overpower your loyalty to your morals.